Hey, I want you to stop whatever else you're doing for just a second. Like, really pause and think about this. What would you do if you knew you absolutely could not fail? Seriously, imagine your life completely free from that paralyzing what if I mess up feeling. If guaranteed success was literally your only option, what's the very first thing that pops into your head? Maybe you'd finally take the plunge and start that business, the one you've been sketching out on napkins for the last 3 years. I mean, we all have those massive, kind of terrifying professional leaps just sitting in the back of our minds. Or, hey, maybe you'd apply for that absolute dream job that you usually just scroll past because, well, you think you aren't quite qualified enough. And actually, maybe it isn't even professional at all. Maybe you'd finally take a personal risk you've been putting off, or just ask that person out. What is that hidden aspiration for you? Well, welcome to this explainer. Today, we are dismantling that barrier of fear. We're going to break down the exact mechanisms behind why we are so terrified of messing up and, way more importantly, how we can actually overcome it. It is so great to have you here with us, focused and ready to dive in. So here's the hard truth. Talent, it's incredibly abundant. You could walk down any street right now and pass dozens of highly talented people. But most folks aren't held back because they lack capability. No, they are entirely held back by their fear of failure. Fear is the true bottleneck for human potential. So why exactly are we so afraid? Let's unpack the whole shebang.
Section 1. Why failure feels personal. Let's look at why failing feels like such a massive personal threat.
Notice the massive difference here between a temporary event and a permanent, painful identity. When things go wrong, people rarely just stop at, oh, well, I failed, like a simple event. Instead, our brains immediately internalize it, and we tell ourselves, I am a failure. That's an identity. And that mental leap makes failure feel incredibly painful and threatening to our actual sense of self. But listen, failing at something doesn't mean you are a failure. It literally just means one specific approach didn't work out. It's an event, guys, not an identity. And that brings us right to judgment. One of the absolute biggest reasons we fear failure is because we are terrified of what other people will think. We worry about our friends, our family, coworkers, even total strangers on the internet. We avoid taking risks just to dodge the embarrassment. But take a deep breath and remember this brutally honest yet completely freeing reality. Most people are way too busy worrying about their own lives to focus on yours. Truly, everyone else is just the main character in their own movie stressing out about their own potential failures.
Which brings us to Section 2, where our fear comes from.
So if everyone else is too busy to care, why is this fear so intense? Well, let's rewind time a bit. And I want to validate right now that feeling this way is not entirely your fault. Thousands of years ago, taking risks was literally fatal. Our ancestors only survived by dodging threats, so the human brain became hardwired to seek absolute safety. Today, obviously, starting a business isn't life-threatening. Learning a new skill won't get you eaten by a tiger. But your primitive brain, it still treats uncertainty as mortal danger. Then, we compound that in childhood. School conditions us from a super young age to associate mistakes with absolute failure, rewarding the right answers, punishing the wrong ones. And fast forward to today, social media creates this heavily curated environment where everyone's struggles are completely hidden, which sets up our next point perfectly. Moving on to Section 3, the reality of success. Let's talk about the illusion that successful people never fail. Every single day online, we're bombarded with the success stories of millionaires, star athletes, brilliant entrepreneurs, flawless celebrities. But what we rarely, if ever, see are the setbacks, the years of invisible struggle, and their spectacular failures. I mean, think about Michael Jordan getting cut from his high school varsity basketball team, or Steve Jobs being fired from Apple, the very company he created. We're constantly sold this toxic illusion that success is just a straight upward line. But the reality? Successful people fail a lot. In fact, they often fail way more than anyone else. Behind every major success story you admire, there is a shockingly long list of failures. Businesses fold, products absolutely bomb, entirely well-thought-out ideas just completely fall apart. The difference isn't that successful people somehow magically avoid failure. It's that they just keep going. They extract the data from the failure instead of letting it defeat them. The truth is, failure is often the required payment, literally the price of progress. Section 4, the hidden cost of inaction. Because if taking risks is scary, we really need to look at the true danger of playing it completely safe. When you spend your life trying to perfectly insulate yourself from failure, there is a massive hidden cost. It's quiet, but it piles up devastatingly over time. When you try to play it totally safe, you're looking at missed opportunities that just pass you by while you were waiting to feel ready. You're looking at unfulfilled dreams permanently locked away in your imagination, and untapped potential that the rest of the world never gets to see. This is the heavy, heavy toll of avoiding risk. I really want you to absorb this paradigm shift. Sometimes, the biggest failure isn't trying and losing. It's never trying at all. Chronic inaction, just letting fear freeze you in place, guarantees the exact outcome you were trying to avoid in the first place. By never trying, you basically fail by default.
Section 5. How to overcome the fear. Let's get into some clear, actionable takeaways to break this cycle. Here's a really practical 4-step roadmap to push through that fear. First, start small. Seriously, you don't have to leap across the Grand Canyon on day 1. Second, take action. Just any action. Motion breaks the paralysis. Third, actively accept that mistakes are totally normal. Did you know James Dyson created 5,126 failed prototypes before he finally invented a working bagless vacuum? That's insane. But in the real world, mistakes are exactly how learning happens. And fourth, shift your focus from seeking perfection to seeking learning. If you pull a lesson from it, well, it wasn't a failure. It was just research.
So, to summarize the core philosophy of this explainer, we fear failure because we're afraid of judgment, mistakes, uncertainty, disappointment. But failure is not the opposite of success. It's a fundamental part of the journey. The people who achieve extraordinary things, they aren't fearless superhuman beings. No way. They simply refuse to let fear have the final say. The goal isn't to avoid failure. The goal is to keep moving forward despite it. Which brings us right back to where we started, but hopefully with a totally new perspective. What would you do if you stopped fearing failure today? Not tomorrow, not next year, today. I want you to hold on to whatever answer just flashed into your mind and take one tiny step toward it. If you enjoyed this explainer and found it valuable, please make sure to like and subscribe and let us know what topic you'd like explained next. Keep moving forward, and I'll catch you in the next one.